Hi guys, it's Clarice, and today we're doing a special birthday tutorial because it is my birthday week, and I thought about what should I put out there, and I figured let's do magnolias and let's do it in the shape of a C. So this is a monogram tutorial using magnolia flowers. So I have drawn this already. I have actually taken pictures of it, and I'm gonna darken it up and just post it online. So for those of you who would like to trace, you are more than welcome to. But we're just going to begin the tutorial right now. I'm going to start off by telling you the brushes I'm going to be using. The flowers are fairly small, so I am definitely going to be using my Silver Black Velvet 4. My Princeton Neptune number 8, and I'm just going to keep the mop brush one handy on the side. I might use it, I might not, we'll see. I'm just trying to think about how small and intricate some of these are. So while we're going to stick with the loose style, I'm just going to have to be extra diligent in terms of how loose we can be, because these florals and these leaves are not massively huge. So next thing is colors. I am going to be using a dark brown, and for that I've decided it's going to be I believe it's the umber from St. Petersburg, White Nights, and I'm definitely going to be using the yellow ochre. So yellow ochre umber, because the branches are pretty much like that, with like a hint of the yellow ochre is more for the to kind of blend in with the green, and I believe this green, you know what, I'm not, so I think the brown I'm using is raw sienna, and then this is the umber. The umber is like the greenish brown that we have going on. Now the branches of these are pretty like I mentioned, they're brown, but then they have these little bumps all around, which I think are budding leaves, or I'm not quite sure, but they're green. And then there's hints of yellow around. So I might use the ochre, I might not, we'll see. So, but I'm just keeping it handy in case. And for colors, for the florals itself, I am going to be using the Madder Lake red. So I already have some on here. And I've mixed the violet with some of the Madder Lake red, so I have two different variations, one with half and half, well, not like I'm measuring, but you know, and then the other one where it has more violet and just a hint of the Madder Lake. And I'm going to try and blend them and see what interesting results we can come up with. The ochre yellow we can also use for the centers. I have two florals here that are kind of facing upward, or diagonally rather, so you can see the centers. And yeah, we can use a little bit of that over there. All right, so let's begin. I am going to start off with doing the florals first, and then we can kind of branch off into doing the branches, pun intended. I'm just going to erase this bit because it has a flower petal lapping. Perfect. All right, so to begin, I am going to do what I've realized, I think because I want this to be loose, I think if we do the wet on wet technique would be really nice. So let's kind of start off with the flower that I see over here, and it's kind of facing downward. So I'm just going to slowly turn this over so you can see better, and I have better access. Move my brushes down. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to wet the area quickly, and I'm just wetting it in the direction of where these petals are at. Oh, that's my laptop. And now once I have that done, I am going to take the Princeton Neptune and get some of the Madder Lake that I have, the red or pink, and once I have that, I'm just gonna go and do one stroke here from up down. Okay, that didn't work. I need more color. And make sure it's just nicely damp. So from up down, because you want the color to be concentrated at the bottom. Okay, now I'm gonna dip in some of the other color, and I'm doing the same thing here. And then lastly, I'm gonna do it over here as well for this third one. And now once I have that, I'm just gonna go back to the number 8, and I'm gonna add additional strokes. Just make sure you don't have too much water on the brush, otherwise it'll start pooling, and if you do end up putting too much down, that's okay. Just get your paper towel or napkin and just dab away. And I'm just kind of creating some movement in the color here, because I want lighter strokes overlapping, because that's how the magnolia flowers are. They're kind of like leaves just overlapping. Leaves, petals overlapping, that's what I meant to say. So I'm touching the color that's already laid on, and it's instantly creating its own fill of color, if that makes any sense. And now what I want to do is just go back in with my number 4, and I'm going to go directly into my pot of the Madder Lake, and I'm just going to add from the bottom up this time, just in the center, and kind of give it direction, and then just another one off to this other side. And you want the concentration of the color to be downward, so leave it down. All right, so now once I have that, that's good enough. I'm going to move on to the next one. I was using my number 8 to lay on the water, so I'm just going to continue doing that. I believe these are buds, so they're simple enough to do. We're just adding them on. I'm going to take some of the purple that I have and add that here, and just let the water run and create its own shape. Maybe add some purple over here as well, so it creates like a nice two-tone darkening light and shadow effect. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here for this one. However, I used the one that had color, so it didn't quite turn out that way, but here we go. I'm just going to use water at the tip of it so it drags that up, pulls it down. Using some color over here as well. And feel free to leave white space, that's totally fine. Let's just do the same thing all over. So again, I'm just wetting the area, and then I'm kind of going in with the brush that I have color on already and just adding it at the bottom and letting it flare up. But I want the color to be at the bottom, so this one I'm leaving a little more white space. And just adding another one of the tones of color on here at the bottom, so it's more concentrated at the bottom. And then again, I'm going to continue doing it for all the other ones. This one is a nice large floral. I've only drawn the forward petals, and then the ones in the background, I'm just kind of gonna go ahead and do it with by moving the color around. I'll show you. This exactly how I did it up there. I'm gonna show it to you again. So this one again, we're doing the same, dragging from the top, spreading down, just getting more color. This one I'm going to do from the bottom up just because I have color on the tip. But you know what? I'm noticing that top to bottom works better when you're kind of pushing color to the bottom. So just stick with the top to bottom, guys. Alright, so now once I have that, I'm going to get some of the other color and just add a bit of it. Here and there. And then the swishing of the color, as I mentioned previously, we're just going to take a brush with water and we're just going to add some strokes, light strokes around the floral. So some of the color submerges with these blobs of water that you're laying down, and it just gives it that loose look. Right, so it's very subtle, and I'm just adding just where this petal curves. I'm just adding a little bit of color so it acts as a what's the word? Outline. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. There we go. And I did that. So I'm leaving that as is, and I'm going to continue doing the other ones. I'll leave the open ones for a little bit later once we finish these the easier ones here. So again, I'm laying down water over the drawing, and I'm just going to make sure that I dab some off because I feel like it's a bit much. And then I'm getting my color, and from the top I'm going all the way to the bottom. Same thing here, and then lastly there, not lastly, continuing on the other side, doing the same thing. And then just like I said with the previous one, we're just going to use the other number 8, the squirrel mop. I'm getting a little bit of pink on the tip just so I can have a two-tone color. Still has too much water, so I'm just going to dab some off. And then just go ahead and swish the leaves, petals. Why do I keep saying leaves? So weird. So it gives you that nice, soft look to it. And then once that's done, just kind of leave it, let it be. You can move on to the next one. I think there's one here. So wetting it again, as per usual. And I'm just adding some color there. Just dipped straight out of the pan to get some of the darker pink. But I don't really need it. I'm liking the purple more than the pink. What do you guys think? I think the purple looks better than the pink. So just going to dab a little excess of it at the top. Because if the water... Oh, there's a strand of hair. Yes, so this is not human hair, it's Barbie doll hair. The other day I caught my daughter cutting Barbie doll hair, and she left that mess right here on my table. And so obviously it kind of went all over my items. Fun, I know. Just gonna add one more here. So we don't want to add too much detail when you're doing them, because again, you want to keep with the whole, this is a loose painting. Moving on. I'm just gonna make sure you can see this better. Perfect. So we have one here. Oops, this one had color, that's okay. Just add it on. Just try and experiment, ones with light color on it, one without color. See what you get. And now I'm going to go in with the color using number 4. and I'm going to press down to get like a dark center bottom. Okay, and then for the background florals, you're just using a brush with water and just kind of creating strokes to kind of spread it out, and then leave it. Last few are left, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay some color down. And then do that this way, and I believe this is another one too. And then 1, 2, 3, yeah, we'll make that one a floral as well. And then finally this one here. And using the number 4, I'm dragging down. I'm gonna get more color on my palette, and I'll get some of the pink this time. And just dab a little bit of this excess water. All right, and yep, the last thing to do is just using your other brush, just kind of go in and add some strokes that can pull from the color you've laid on to create background petals. There we go. Awesome, so that's how we did that. Notice that is a lot darker, but just give this some time to dry and I will show you what we can do next. Let's tackle the center, the flowers that are open upward. So for this one, we're just gonna use the number 4 again, and we're gonna go in with the ochre that I have. And let's create the center. So we're just doing, just want to make sure you can see. Yep, you can see. We're just doing dots, not too many. And then we're going to go in and get some of the purple. So I'm going to keep this here. Purple, pink, whatever color that you are using. And we're just going to create like lines or dots around the yellow that I've laid on. And so just do a quick rendition of that. Once you have that down, just go in with your number 8. And what we're going to be doing with just water on it, just make sure you don't have too much water. We're just going to drag from the center and take it out because we want it to be dark to light. And so time is imperative here, as you know, between the time you lay it down to the time you spread it out, you want to make sure that it doesn't dry up. And you can leave some white spaces, that's totally fine, but just use the water to let it drag and spread. Alright, so it did that quite well over here. And then you can always go back in, get more of your paint, and just dab more in the center. and then it kind of spreads out again. So it's pretty. All right, so there we go. That's how you do the open floral. Let's do the same thing over here for this one. Taking some of the yellow, I'm just gonna dab. And then once I have that, I'm gonna go back in with the purple and do the same thing all around, barely touching the yellow. If you touch it slightly, it's okay. Make sure you don't touch it too much. And then going back in with a brush that just has water but not too much, and you're kind of pulling the color from the center out in the shape of the leaf, petal. Why do I keep saying leaf? There we go. So make sure you can see that. Yep. But so you're pulling the color upward, and then when you're swishing it around, make sure you kind of send it back down. I hope that makes sense. And then again, you can just go back in with your dark purple using your number 4 and just highlight the centers, and it'll spread. Now this has too much water in it. That's why it's spreading in a very weird manner, and it's quite quick. And I don't want that. But how you can fix that is by just making sure that you get some nice thick color, and you don't have too much water laid out on your sheet, and then that kind of fixes the spread. Then the spread is slow and gradual as opposed to quick and just quick. So I'm adding some of that dark pink, red, or whatever you want to call it on here too, just so it doesn't look out of the blue over here. Yeah, there we go. So now that we have this, now we can go in for the leaves and the rest of the bits. And for that, I will use the number 4 again. And I'm just gonna wash this and get ready for the leaves. Actually, let's start off with the branches first. Yes, then we can do the leaves. And so for the branches, I'm using the dark brown that I have. So we're just gonna mix that up nicely. We can work right off this, or if you want to mix it up on here first and then work from it, that's totally up to you. Let's start off with the branches that are up here, and these branches are kind of nice and thick. So while we want to make it thick at the tapering ends, let's just leave it loose. And the little bits that are protruding, they're actually green. So I think at this point, maybe introduce another thin brush and just have your green ready as well. Because what we want to do is get the green in, but while this brown is still wet, if we can get the green, then it'll be a nice blend. So I'm gonna do some of these leaves as well, since this brush is small enough for it. So the leaves are very, just like my comma strokes that I have mentioned many times. I'm just kind of doing 1 stroke and then 2. And you can feel free to kind of have different variations of water consistency in there, so it looks nice and loose. Then we're going to go ahead and continue on here. And what you can also do is first add on the green and then go in with the brown. And I'll show you what happens there is we're creating a blend between the green and the brown, and that kind of gives it a nice look as well. So yeah, really you can approach this in 2 different ways if you wish. So just doing that. remember we're doing the green little buds. So because of those buds happening too, we are able to blend this green in quite nicely with the brown, and it actually does add quite a bit of niceness to the whole structure or the painting. So as you can already see, it's turning out to be quite the nice setup here. And because this has a base drawing, I'm kind of just painting within the lines, but if it didn't, I would just be doing a lot looser, like I'd be a lot looser in my strokes for the leaves. And the leaves you can actually do the same way as with the petals, like adding color at the bottom and then taking one of your other brushes and kind of just with water on it spreading it out. So it's like from dark to light. Totally do that. So lots of different ways to approach this, guys, and just have fun with the process. Okay, continuing on, I like when it is slightly damp and then we kind of go in with colors, so I'm just going to do that for the rest of the branches and have that same feel, and then go in with the brown and have it spread nicely. And I'm just going to move this aside, I was going to keep on making noise. Adding the leaves again. So this one is going to be a lot darker because I just really went in there for the color. I feel like I botched that leaf up, but it's okay. Adding some additional water to the side just to give it a softer look and feel. There we go. And I'm going to keep on going and add some here as well. And now actually for this leaf, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try and go into my ochre and add some of the yellow, and let's just see what happens. I want to make sure I don't have too much water as I'm doing a soft edge. Not bad. I mean, I think I should have just left the yellow as a tint as opposed to really making it spread all over. But I don't mind it. Okay, continuing on. And going back to my brown. And then adding some green off to the sides, the little bumps or leaf buds, I don't know what they are. They're actually all over the plant, so. And I know the magnolias last only like 2 weeks, kind of like the cherry blossoms, so I'm not sure if they are leaves. Like, are they leaves? Someone who's an expert can definitely chime in and let me know. All right, continuing on, this is coming along nicely. I'm gonna keep on doing this. Wait, is this right? No, I think it's supposed to be here. It's okay. And then going back in. Adding some of the brown. Just gonna do the bottoms. Some of them have like the brown bottoms. You don't have to add them to all, but it's kind of nice between the light pink. Oh, there's a piece of paper on there. It's okay. All right, so, oh yes, we're gonna add some of the green here while it is still damp. And then adding some of the green onto the leaf itself. Pulling it back to the center for the beginning of the leaf. Adding a hint of like another leaf here just because I did that line. Leave it at that. Where else? What am I doing? Okay, carrying on. Almost done. So in fact, actually, as I'm doing this, I can just add in the bumpy parts right here. I don't have to wait for anything really. And then I can always highlight it again. There we go. We're kind of almost done. And oh yes, this part has and then finally the leaves. Now for some of you, you might think these leaves are a little bit too dark or too much to the brown, earring to the brown, leaning more towards the brown, I guess, but feel free to use a green that resonates with you for this. I kind of like the more muted hunter kind of green as opposed to some that are really dark. And actually, you know what? I'm just thinking about it right now as I'm looking at this, as it's coming together. I'm going to do one thing more before we end. And this kind of goes to show that when you're doing a painting, you can never really tell how things are going to pan out up until, you know, you get to see the full picture. And then you decide, oh, should I be adding something extra? Should I be doing can I make this better, in other words? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to get in some of the yellow and mix it in with, I already have some green pre-mixed here. I don't anticipate myself needing more because I just want like one of those really light yellows. Yes, this kind of like young green look to it. And this is the color I should have done for the little edges. But I guess it's too dark for it now. But you know what? I can do it at the tip of it and just add them sporadically. And I think it will add a nice touch of brightness. So what I should have done was I should have made the little tips this color as opposed to the dark green that I used for the leaves as well. So maybe keep this in mind, if you end up trying this again. Or you can just do this method that I've just kind of done to save it. I think it's, either way, it kind of works well. So here we go, not looking too bad, eh? And so I think what we can lastly do to kind of overemphasize the strokes for the florals is I would go in with the pre-mixed red. Just get some more going on with some of that purple, mixing it right here. And I want like a nice, good amount of it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add some strokes. And strokes like this. So kind of adds that more second layer of detail to your painting. And then you can go back with the lighter brush that you have and just using water, just add some lines in the direction of your petal. Just make sure it has water on it and that the color you've just laid on is still damp, and you're picking up the color and you're kind of just adding lines. So I'm going to do that for the rest of them as well. Actually, it doesn't have to be for all, just a couple if you wish. And this is just to give it a little more detail for certain buds. And so doing the same thing. And then you can add some tiny ones here as well. Just to highlight certain areas, really. Not that I feel like it really needs it, but I just wanted to try and see what it would look like, because I had this first one up here with all that detail. So this one I'm just going to go very light. There we go, and leave it at that. And there you have it, guys. This is my version of a monogram using loose magnolias. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, how you liked it. And obviously, if you liked videos that I've done, please consider subscribing. I'm also on YouTube. Sorry, obviously, I'm on YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube. Also on Instagram and Facebook. And I love seeing and hearing from you guys, seeing your artwork, and just kind of hearing your comments or suggestions. So please feel free to follow me there and just chime on in with the conversation, to just kind of chat. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we'll chat soon. Bye.